Welcome to this special edition of Puck Online. I'm broadcasting here in beautiful Victoria today to bring you a quick summary of the 8 biggest announcements I feel came out of Microsoft's event this week in Orlando called Ignite. So let's start off with the biggest one, the announcement of Azure Arc. Now, this is a solution that will manage everything everywhere, including AWS and Google GCP. The focus is on Windows and Linux VMs, as well as Kubernetes clusters, plus some limited Azure data services. So this is very similar in concept to what Google announced recently with their Anthos solution, being able to look after that multi-cloud environment that a lot of companies are starting to see themselves sprawl across. Also, this isn't a replacement or a competition really to Azure Stack, which is Microsoft's on-premise Azure solution. This is more, I feel, really that whole idea of System Center, which used to be the central software to control your multiple data centers, sort of that becoming an online solution that expands its scope from just managing your servers in other data centers to managing your other servers and environments in not only other data centers, but also other public cloud providers as well. Also, there was the announcement of Project Cortex. This is a solution which will look over your company's network of data, really building a knowledge repository for itself based on machine learning and smarts to bring to your attention within Office apps, files and data that will be relevant to either the user or the people within those applications using it, or the content or topics being discussed. So this will, I feel, help with those documents that you create that you're always afraid are going to be forgotten by everybody else that you spend a lot of time on. So this is under test at the moment for iOS and Android. The iOS one, I believe, because of Apple's limitations on test apps, has been maxed out already, but the Android one you can actually jump in today and test it. And it really helps bring together the different Office apps. And the app you'll find on the iOS and Android stores is just called Office, and it brings together Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. There was also the announcement of a new solution called Endpoint Manager. This is really taking in 2 products that already existed, Config Manager and Intune, and bringing those 2 products together, which I think is well overdue really, giving users the choice in the past to pick whether they wanted to manage PCs or whether they wanted to use a different product to manage mobile devices. Really didn't make sense in my eyes, seeing that pretty much every organization, no matter how big or small you are, has both PCs and mobile devices of end users to manage. So this, what it does is it's really, I see, is phasing out Config Manager and encouraging use of Intune, which is now going to have those features of Config Manager. And so the carrot that's dangled out there now is that Config Manager users will be provided with a free Intune license, and really make Config Manager redundant in giving you a single area within Intune to manage your PC and mobile devices. Next, we had the announcement of Visual Studio Web Edition, which has entered preview. The idea here is that you'll be able to, just using your browser, be able to jump in there and edit code. I don't think this is going to replace the desktop version of Visual Studio, at least not yet, but really has a great positioning there for anybody who's wanting to quickly jump in and edit code. Maybe they're on the road, on the run, using a different laptop, have some basic needs that they want to quickly jump in and do. And also, you can see that they're also talking about the integration to GitHub, which Microsoft recently acquired, as well as other pieces that are coming down the road to really expand this. So maybe not today, replacing the desktop version, but I see it really on the roadmap of where they're heading towards, is everything web-based. So Microsoft launched a new solution called Power Virtual Agents. This is a solution that uses no-code or low-code to develop for chatbots. It's using Microsoft's machine learning and smarts to do a lot of the work there for people. And the interface for developing, since there is no code really, is giving you a GUI interface to move boxes around and interface that way. So, but at the end of the day, if you do outgrow it and find that you do want to get into the code base, it is still accessible for you to take it to the next level. And Cortana is now looking like Microsoft is focusing on more business side of Cortana than the consumer side, which seems to have sort of failed against the likes of Alexa and Siri and others like Google Assistant. But I really see some powerful plays here. It makes sense. Microsoft has a great tap into the business world with enterprise business, and that they do really well. So yeah, look out for this with more and more integration coming on iOS and Android. It'll come out for those using Outlook, the online version. Be able to do a lot more features here with Cortana, such as having Cortana read you a summary of emails, being able to then talk back to Cortana and tell her to highlight, like flag emails or delete emails, or come back with replies and then start dictating that to Cortana. She'll also be able to give you features around your Outlook calendar. So having a look at what you've got coming up, give you a daily summary, even recognize things such as time where you should be working on something other than emails. So giving you suggestions there to block out time around the real work that makes a difference. So this next announcement is not so much a feature that we'll be able to use anytime soon, but Project Silica is an interesting one where Microsoft have been developing storage using glass. And the interesting thing here is it is just standard normal glass, nothing special. And the idea is that storage on glass will be very resistant compared to like moving part storage, such as traditional hard drives and even CDs, which are prone to being damaged by light and scratching and things like that. They've tested this against, they've baked it, they've scratched away, boiled it underwater and found out it's come out. And they were actually showing a demo at Ignite where they'd worked with Warner Brothers to put the 1978 version of the Superman movie onto glass. And finally, this last one is not so much one single announcement, but package of announcements, I guess, around Office updates. So obviously there was a lot of little announcements out there around Azure and Microsoft Office and other pieces around the Microsoft ecosystem. These three I thought were pretty interesting, with now Outlook getting integrated into Microsoft Teams. So that'll be interesting, seeing that by default there's already that integration of Teams into Outlook, and now it's coming back the other way. So because obviously I can see places where you might be in a Teams meeting and it comes up about scheduling, for instance, of what's the next meeting going to look like. And then there was also the announcement of a new version of Outlook coming out for Mac users. So that's always good, seeing that 10, 20 years ago, they were always a few years behind in everything. And then finally, there was the more development, I guess, news on Microsoft's Fluid framework, which they had announced at Build and other pieces earlier in the year, but it really wasn't clear what that was. And they gave a lot more detail around what this is as a vision. So really, it's looking at what the future of web will be around collaboration. But not only that, but looking at how documents and apps all work together and integrate. So today, for example, I know when I'm putting together contracts, I'll do a Word document, but then I'll also have to show my workings around costings and things. So I'll also use an Excel document to work that out. And that's really two documents that people have to go to back and forth. And sure, I can copy and paste pieces of the Excel document into the Word document. But what we're going to start seeing here is where we take pieces of the content from different documents and we can see and merge it in dynamically with other documents and other apps such as Teams and Outlook and such not. That's all I've got for you on the Ignite. I'm sure there's a lot more announcements to read through, but these were the ones that I thought were top picks. Make sure you check out all our other podcasts and a YouTube channel and next meetups by going to www.publiccloud.ninja. And thanks for watching.